It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
Welcome back to HabsCast. We're up to number 77. That's crazy how many shows we've already done. Soon going to have 100 under the belt. But big game tonight, obviously. The 417 rivalry. We got Montreal hosting the Ottawa Senators. I'm going to have on Steve Lloyd from TSN 1200 in about 10, 15 minutes. Great guy. He's had me on his show for probably 20 years talking draft on the radio with him. So we're going to have the roles reversed tonight. Today. I'm going to be asking him some questions for a change. So it'll be fun. Nice. Haven't talked to Lloydie for a while, so it'll be nice to have a chat with him and see the state of the Ottawa Senators in this big divisional rivalry tonight. First of all, though, I've got a new someone that's going to start coming on the show, Alex Kassar Harvey. He's a statistician for TVA, and I got talking to him yesterday, and he's gonna come on the show once in a while, but he's also going to provide me with some stats. And I asked him, yeah, I can't recall many times when a rookie NHL center, a regular rookie NHL center played, more than 90 seconds a game on the penalty kill, like a regular penalty killer. And I asked him to look up the recent stats to see who all exactly has played that much as a rookie center in the NHL. It's not that common. And he came up with a list. And then what I noticed with the list was they weren't rookies. The ones that were on it were not rookies that accumulate a lot of points, as they're typically just defensive centers, right? Well, Oliver Kapanen has come in this year. He's centering the second line. Well, kind of de facto second line. You can argue whether it's a second line or not, but right now it is, certainly with all the injuries. So he's centering the second line. He's averaging more than a half point per game, and he's averaging more than 90 seconds a night at center, killing penalties. This is rare. This is very rare. And he didn't have time to get back to me with this, but what I did was the players that he did list, and this is from the last 5 or 6 years, and there was only 10 of them or so. I looked up their points per game in their rookie seasons to see, to see if any of them came close to Kapanen, and only one actually was close, and he had more. But here's the list, and it's quite interesting. All right, Anton Lundell, when he came in, he averaged 0.68 points per game. 11 and a half faceoffs. What I considered to be a true rookie center was any center that takes more than 5 faceoffs. Alex included Gustafsson and Matt Savoy and Sharon Govich, but really they don't qualify. I stuck Gustafsson in here because he was close to 5 faceoffs per game on average. But here, if you look at it, these are the only ones in the last 6 years, and one of them is or 5. Actually, this will be the 6th season, and you'll notice that Jake Evans was one of the other ones, right? But here you look at it. Demidov averaged 0.68, Kapanen averaging 0.54, and 7.2 faceoffs, right? But the next best points per game average is actually Ryan Green in this season. Fine rookie center for the Chicago Blackhawks. But you can see all of the rest of these guys, the only ones that were regular penalty killers in the last 6 years, their points per game were uh, quite a bit lower than Oliver Kapanen. So it's really interesting to see that. And it goes to show just how rare it is for a center to come into the league, to come into the NHL, kill penalties right off the bat, like regularly. And in Kapanen's case now, after these injuries, and I mean, I thought he should have been on the power play to begin with, though, but he's also playing on the power play. Now, if you go back and look at this group, like he's the only one that Lundell played a little bit on the power play, but Kapanen right now is playing more than a minute a game on the power play. If that continues for the rest of the year, that's even more rare that you find a rookie center that plays regularly on both the power play and PK. It just goes to show you how multifaceted he is, how smart he is, and how valuable he already is to Montreal Canadiens. Oliver Kapanen is having, just like the last 3 years, I considered him to be the most underrated prospect, and I always said that in the Montreal Canadiens organization. He's doing it right in front of our eyes, and he's still the most underrated prospect. Well, he's not a prospect, but now he's the most underrated player on the team. It's funny, they're interviewing Slav in the dressing room yesterday, and he gets asked, "Oh, what's it like playing with Demidov?" Right? Doesn't even mention Kapanen, right? It's just Demidov. Like that's and of course Slav mentions both of them because that he's got two new line mates. He doesn't have one. One of those two new line mates is a unicorn. He's a Capricorn. I mean, two guys in the last. I asked, and Alex is going to look it up, but when it comes down to it, rookie centers that have averaged at least 5 faceoffs a game. So regular rookie centers with a half a point per game that also play 90 seconds or more on the PK. There's been 2 in the last 6 years. That's Lundell and Kapanen. I would venture to guess in the past 20 or 15 years, you wouldn't even have a list this long of rookie centers that came into the league that played 90 seconds or more a game on the PK and averaged a half a point per game. Like Nico Hischier wasn't even a regular in his rookie season as a penalty killer. So it's rare. It's really rare. And it's just a further example of just how much Oliver Kapanen is bringing to the game, to the team. And it's not all just about points, right? It's rare. It's really rare. I think in Montreal in the last 30 years, like Evans, Plekanec, and one other center are the only ones that rookie centers that average 90 or more seconds on playing shorthanded as rookie centers in Montreal. It's rare even in Montreal, and they weren't half a point per game scorers as rookies either. So people should be more appreciative, I think, of just how much Oliver Kapanen is bringing to the team and how much potential he has as a two-way middle line center. Like his absolute floor, as far as I'm concerned, is third line on a great team if they get a special second line center. But to me, right now, he fits the mold like an Antti Cirelli, Chandler Stevenson, Sam Bennett, that type second line center that can do it all and protects their talent, the talented wingers that play on that line. Anyways, I wanted to, people say, "Oh, third line." Well, you know what? You know what this projects? Like one of the only guys that that probably in the last 20 years that you could say, well, plays as a rookie, played on power play and PK regularly, might be Patrice Bergeron. If you think that means he's a third liner, well, we'll see. But again, see, this is just a perfect example of how underrated he is, because people still have that, like they can't get that out of their heads. Third liner, third liner, third liner. I'll take him on my second line any day. Any day. Right now, like that's Oliver Kapanen. He's he's gonna get a lot of points in the NHL. He's a good goal scorer. Well, he's tied for the second on the Habs. Tied for second on the Habs in goal scoring. Regular on the power play, kills penalties, center. Well, third liner. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. People are still bullheaded about it. Oh no, you can only be a third liner, even though he's playing second line as a rookie and doing things that are rare air. So it just proves my point again and again when people just can't, there's no way possible he could be anything but a third line center. Yeah, well, stay tuned, folks. All right, so Steve Lloyd's going to be with us soon. Let's have a look at the projected lineup here. Let's see. There's Ottawa's. There we go. Montreal's projected lineup for tonight. Now, Strubal's a game time decision. He is questionable, but from what I hear, he's going to take the warm up, and what that usually means is he's in. He'll be in. If he's good enough to take the friggin' warm up, he'll have to be, you'd have to have a leg chopped off to not be able to participate. I would think. I believe he will be there, and he'll do a great job. I think he was missed last game. I know there was more to it than just him being out of the lineup. Obviously, Garrett Rank officiating, among other things, but playing 3 games and 4 nights in Colorado, there were a lot of factors, but I believe one of them was the fact that Evans wasn't in there, and I think that hurt. But it'll be interesting if he can't go. Obviously, they'll dress 7 D-men. If he can't go, they'll. I would suppose that Engstrom will be in again, but that to me hopefully means that he'll. With him taking the warm up, I think he'll probably go. I don't know if there are. I don't know if there are other changes going to be made up front for the Canadians, but those were the lines to end last game. And if anybody's seen, I didn't when I came to air here, I didn't see any changes for the lines, but they could mix that up a bit. I personally would like to see Davidson back in if he hasn't been sent down for Texier. Texier hasn't done a lot for me so far, but that's not likely to be the case. I don't know. Davidson should be given another chance, I think. And but if not, I'd flip Jack-I and Texier back again and put him with Evans and Anderson. Personally, that would be what I would pursue. We'll see how Bolduc if Bolduc bounces back from a so-so game, but hey, he had two solid efforts just before that, so hopefully that line can get back on track. Slav Kapanen and Demidov was probably the only line that played half decently the other night against Colorado. I thought they were pretty solid. We'll see. Like the bottom 4, they could use a reinforcement or two. It's safe to say. I'm not crazy about it, and I think that's probably one place where the Senators have a bit of an edge. When you look at their bottom 6, like Amadio, Pinto, Giroux, Gregg, and Eller are all in there. That's, I mean, that's a lot better than that bottom 6, right? So that's what we'd be looking at. Oh, just in time. Good stuff. Here he is.
Hey, how are you?
Mr. Steve Lloyd, how are you today?
What's going on? Sorry, am I 30 seconds a minute late? My bad.
Yeah, no, not bad at all. Funny, I was just putting up the Ottawa lineup here. Let's have a look here. There's the Habs lineup. There we go. Does that look like what we're going to be seeing tonight, Steve?
Well, yeah, I'm obviously not in Montreal, but that's my understanding. There's nothing confirmed. It looks like my guess is McDermott's going to play for Cousins, but that looks about right. Allmark is a confirmed starter.
Okay, good. Greg and Eller on the fourth line. I think that's a matchup that they can maybe utilize against Montreal. Like those two guys, when you have those two guys on your fourth line, you've got some depth. It's fair to say.
Well, coming off the game against Dallas, that's the first game where they had the full complement of their, let's say, their healthy forward lineup with Greg. He had missed the previous 5 games. That was Brady's second game after missing 20. So now that they, whenever you say this, there's another injury around the corner. It's the NHL. But for the time being, Travis Green and his staff have some first world problems when they're putting their forward group together. But for tonight's game, we were talking about it on our morning show. And it was our web poll question of the day. Would they play McDermott and or Hayden Hodgson, who is still with the group? And he had played 5 games in a row before being scratched in the last game. A couple of fourth line guys that provide energy, and Curtis McDermott has that what the Liam Neeson would say, a particular set of skills. He's only in the lineup for one reason. He is an old school enforcer. When he plays 2 to 5 minutes a game. Often it means there's other players up the lineup that take some double shifts because he's not the type of player that does take a regular shift. So it looks at the very least he'll take the warm up, and looks like he's going to be in the lineup.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about that because, I mean, Greg, I think they can take advantage of that fourth line. Like when you look at Montreal's, they're Jack Valeno Gallagher, if that's indeed the fourth line tonight. I think, Greg and Eller can take advantage of that, but only if it's not McDermott that's out there with him, if you catch my drift.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely. Yeah.
You're right. I think they'll be double shifting whoever fairly often. And if there's any hanky-panky, the Jack guys are going to be playing, I guess. And for that reason, you have McDermott there just in case things get a little heated, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why he's in the lineup, because the Jack guy's presence. But also, I don't think, because this goes back, and by the way, the fact that the Habs and the Sens are both relevant at the same time is great, right? Yeah. It's just the points in the standings mean so much, so this can't get stupid tonight. It doesn't mean it can't. It's hockey. Emotions can run high. But these are two good teams trying to be great teams, playing a very relevant game in the standings. It's not just the proximity, we're just down the road from each other rivalry. It means a lot, in the standings. If Ottawa were to win in regulation tonight, they move from 11th to 3rd. And that's and Montreal is 3rd right now in the Atlantic Division. So yeah, and that's the entire Eastern Conference right now, with Buffalo getting a nice win last night. Everybody's at NHL 500 with at least a point a game in the entire conference. We can just forget about this U.S. Thanksgiving, December 1st, got to be in a playoff spot. In the East this year, bye-bye. That's
right out the window this year.
Usually that's a nice barometer to have. Not this year. Not this in the Eastern Conference. It's
well over 70% of the teams that are in the playoff spot on U.S. Thanksgiving typically make the playoffs. Montreal was, last year defied the odds. I don't know if Ottawa out at Thanksgiving last year, or were they in?
I'd have to go back and look.
I can't remember.
But usually that's a pretty good barometer of how things are going to go. But this year, like I had to laugh, and we discussed it on our show as well. Just a couple of games ago, because the Sens have coming off a couple of losses. But at that point, there was a point being made by national media. Even it's like, oh, Ottawa's the only Canadian team in a playoff spot. It's like, well, look at Ottawa. It's like, well, wait a couple games, a couple days. Like it is so tight right now. It's not like, oh, fait accompli, Ottawa's good. They're the only Canadian team in a playoff spot right now. It's like, okay. Well, and here we are. They lose a couple of games. And by the way, the Habs and the Sens are both coming off 5-goal losses to, in my opinion, the two best teams in the league. Like Montreal got thundered by Colorado, and Dallas thumped Ottawa. And both of these teams tonight are looking to rebound from that.
Well, it's funny when you said that about Ottawa. I think 2 days ago I heard, well, Montreal's the only Canadian team that's in a playoff spot now. So I just, I hope that changes. I want at least five in there, and it's a good possibility. It's just right now there's three or four a point or two out of a playoff spot. It's just I've never seen this much parity. We always talk about parity in the league, but never to this extent. It's never been this tight in December that I can recall.
I can't recall it either, and I've asked a lot of people that might have better memories than me. I can't remember where we're into the month of December and there's zero separation. Yeah. Zero. Like, Buffalo, well, they're not last right now in the East after they're third last. The Leafs are technically last in the Eastern Conference today, and they're not done, right? I know that, they've had their struggles, but it's anybody in the Eastern Conference right now feels that they're in it and they still have a chance, and they should feel that way.
Haven't seen you since you started growing the beard there.
I did this a while ago, and then I thought it would last a week or two, and it's been about a month now.
Yeah. So, are you racing against CJ there? Trying to.
If I keep going, right, maybe I can start getting a side gig as Santa Claus. I just got to start eating more of my wife's cookies, and away we go.
That's just over a month. Holy geez, you can grow her in a hurry. On
the sides, it's a little thin, but out front, it's pretty thick.
Yeah, looking good. It's by the way, this is a little odd. Me interviewing you. I mean, for the last 20 years, it's been the other way around. So what would be your tiers for the Ottawa Senators?
I thought you'd do that to me.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, I have Grant on around draft time a few times every year, and that's one of my standard questions. We're talking about the draft, the tiers of the draft, all right? Where's the drop-offs in the first round? So there you go. All right, so what's your tiers question for me?
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, tiers are not enough. We got to talk about other stuff. I've got actually a little something here. We'll have a little fun with it. Okay, here's Brady Tkachuk in the lineup this year so far.
Mm-hmm.
What they've got 12 goals for, 24 against. Out of the lineup, they're like 11, 5, and 4.
Yep. So trade Brady.
So they're minus 12 goal differential with him in the lineup and plus 7 without him. Did they relax a little? I know Dallas obviously is better. You can't really count that, but I think it was important that they learned to win without Brady, and they did that. And but now he's back in the lineup. Do you think maybe they relax a little bit to start? It's going to turn around, but where just subconsciously they maybe think, well, Brady's back. We don't have to be as aggressive, or we don't have to that's an odd stat. I realize it's only 5 games but you would think it would be the other way around.
Yeah, I think the sample size is too small to really read into it that way. But in terms of the positive thing for Ottawa is when he went down, so that was the home opener on Thanksgiving Monday. They barely eased into the season. the Senators.
True.
And, it was an unfortunate play. Like Roman Yossi wasn't trying to do exactly that. He shoved him from behind, awkward spot, goes in the boards, gets his hands up. And, I thought immediately the way he went in and the way he was holding his hand, I was thinking, oh boy, is that a scaphoid fracture? And that little bone, and it's no blood flow, and that can take forever to heal. And like Habs fans remember Sheldon Surrey had a hell of a time with that years ago and missed a bunch of time. So it wasn't that. It was the tendon, and still missed 6 weeks with that. But they certainly did. They more than got by without Brady. People were thinking if they can just be point a game NHL 500 in his absence, they'd be great. That'd be good enough. Just bide your time. And, I looked at the numbers on that. When he came back, they were 6 points better than that. And if they were 6 points worse and they were only 500, they would have been last, tied with Buffalo at the point when he returned to the lineup. And that speaks to how tight the East is as well. So it's too early. He's still getting his feet wet. First game coming back, full of emotion. He threw everything at the net, and lots of emotion playing in St. Louis. It always is. Dallas, that's a good team. And Ottawa lost their composure in that one. And also didn't help that the power play has just gone in the tank. It was 6th in the league in the month of October, 28th in the month of November. So that's something to look for tonight. The power play, I think, I didn't check again today, I think it's still ranked 11th overall. But that's being 6th in October and 28th in November. So not trending in the right direction. So if you're going to win on the road, especially against a quality team, you got to get a little something out of your power play. And Jake Sanderson even said post-game against Dallas, it wasn't the fact that, we want to score in the power play, but it sucked the life out of our game. We'd be playing and checking well, and you get a power play, and it's just, and then you start playing worse because your power play is, we've seen that a million times with teams over the years. Like, that's the other side of a bad power play. It's not necessarily not scoring. It just sucks the life out of your 5-on-5 game, knowing how bad your power play is.
Yeah. And was that like games 5 and 6 on the Western Swing, the last two? So they've been on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is the longest road trip of the season. They've been on the road for 2 weeks straight right now.
Yeah.
So they went to California first, did those 3 games, and they did Vegas, and then they did St. Louis and Dallas. And we looked at the schedule when it came out, like, this is weird. So you go on a long 6-gamer out west, and when you come back east, you don't go home, you go to Montreal directly. They had like they only played 2 days ago. There's no slush time there either, right? They played Sunday.
Oh, and they didn't come home for a day?
They couldn't. They flew right from Dallas to Montreal, and they played tonight. So that's the other thing we always look at, right? I know this is Montreal's first game back after a road trip, and everybody says, all right, then, well, Ottawa's coming back from the West and didn't even go home yet. So I don't know what to expect in terms of energy, legs, starts for both teams tonight.
Stay in the hotel. Yeah, that's right. And typically the first game back after a Western Swing, the home team can be a little sluggish too, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I don't know. They have to shovel snow and do all the things at home, but let's see here. I just wanted to bring up Ottawa's lineup one more time here. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Ottawa games recently, but I did see the game against Dallas, and Jordan Spence, I thought, had some struggles in that game. Mind you, the Dallas when they're rolling at home are tough. That second, if there was a weakness, I'd say that you could maybe exploit in this lineup, it might be that second pairing. Is that or what? How had Spence been playing?
Spence has been up and down. He was scratched at the start of the year, and then he got in. And then he got on a nice little run. You can see, the good part of, he's not the biggest guy in the world, and we know that. He's got really nice hands. He's got good mobility, laterally especially, can move the puck well, reads the play well in the offensive zone. But, unfortunately for him, he's just not the biggest guy in the world. And he gets himself into trouble where if you're an undersized defenseman, doesn't mean you can't play and you can't defend, but you can't afford to get out of leverage and get out of position that way. You can't just power through somebody. So you've got to actually be better defensively and thinking ahead and using your feet. And at times, especially in the Dallas game, he struggled, but I don't think that was all on him. That was one of the worst games I've seen Tyler Clevin play this season. He's been pretty, and he had a coming out party, I think, against the Leafs in the playoffs. He just took a step physically, confidence. He had a really nice playoff series against Toronto last spring. He's been asked to be elevated, and I think now we're getting to the point, we see this quite often. Teams can get by without top players in top positions for a while, right? If you got good structure and you're a good team, and I think Ottawa is that good, not great. They've been okay, but man, the longer this goes, they miss Thomas Chabot, and Thomas Chabot is he can be a whipping boy a lot for a lot of the fan base just because he's been here so long, right?
Yeah,
like he's still not an old guy, but he's been here the longest,
right?
And he's been through, he's got the scar tissue from the really bad years of Ottawa. Like he got drafted and joined the team just in time for the team to go into a dive and not be very good. And they didn't have much around him. He was overplayed a lot. And anyways, but this is a good player. It's a good player that eats up a lot of minutes. He slides in nicely behind Jake Sanderson as your number 2 left shot guy. And now he's been out. He had that false start comeback game, but he's been out for quite some time now. And who knows when he's coming back. And in the meantime, Tyler Cleven's been asked to be a second pairing guy, and with multiple partners. Sometimes it's Spence, sometimes it's been Jensen, and Jensen's really had a slow start to the season. You can see that he isn't all the way back yet from that was major hip surgery. Like he's got some artificial parts in him, and he's 35 years old. I can see his game coming along, but he's not quite all the way back either. So you're right in that Sanderson and Zub, that's a great top pairing. After that, it's a work in progress right now for Ottawa.
Okay. Because I based on last year or whatever, I'm a little surprised that it wouldn't be Jensen that's on the second pairing. But you say he's been, but also I think maybe there's a bit of balance there too, right? Like put the big guy Clevens with the smaller guy Spence, and maybe that's their thinking. Are they kind of playing those bottom 2 pairings sort of similar minutes?
It depends situationally if it's a high power play game or not, right? Like they really they lean on Cleven because he's their only other left shot guy right now, because they just called up Dennis Gilbert after they reacquired him in a small deal for Max Gannett from the Flyers organization. So he's with the team, but he is what he is. He's a 29-year-old depth left shot guy that can give you some NHL games sometimes if you need it. But without Chabot, they lost Sabrango on waivers, who they really liked at the start of the year, to Florida. They're thin on the left side. So that's why when Cleven elevates and Cleven maybe struggles a little bit, it's very noticeable, because Matt and Paolo's a righty. Like they're going righty in their bottom.
Oh, really?
Pair. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And Matt and Paolo's a right shot, and he's been playing the left side for the last number of games out of sheer necessity. They're just out of guys. They're unless you want to insert Gilbert right now, who is a lefty, but I give Matt and Paolo a lot of credit. Like he's been the guy. Can you do this? Yep. Can you play here? Sure. Like, why wouldn't you be? Like, I'll just do whatever you need me to do. And right now, he's a right shot guy who's never really played the left side. Few right shots do, unless your name's Mackenzie Weegar, because of right shot, there's just not as many of them. He's playing the left side. He's playing the left side. It's
weird to have a surplus of right guys. It's the opposite of what it usually is. Montreal, it's the exact opposite. They've got five lefties out of 7.
When you look at Ottawa's group in general, they're right heavy up and down their lineup, especially when they didn't have Brady and Greg. Those are 2 lefties, and they just got healthy. Their forward group, that's why you saw Eller on a power play unit oftentimes, because he's a left shot. It's like, well, you can't have all righties in a power play unit, right? No, so exactly. it has Sanderson running the show up top, and Chabot's out, and he's a lefty. So until Chabot was out, Greg was out, Tkachuk was out. Those are all left shot guys that play fairly high in your lineup. It is kind of weird. Ottawa's really right shot heavy throughout their lineup.
Yeah. Well, Ottawa had Montreal's number for a couple of years there. I think they had won 8 straight or something like that. Now, if you look at the 3 out of the last 4 have been, or 4 out of the last 5, Montreal actually has won. But before that, it was I think it was 8 straight. Was it? Do you remember? Steve?
I forget the exact numbers on it, but I know that Ottawa usually, when they were playing Montreal for a good run, they did quite well.
Yeah, well, well, 7 straight for sure here, as this shows, but
Yeah.
Montreal kind of turned the tables a bit in last year. Obviously, they were a better team, and it's nice to have this rivalry back. Where would you place, like, today, if you would say Montreal or Ottawa's main rivals? How would you rank the top 3?
Oh man. Well, I think right now in the here and now it's Montreal. Because there's some physical juice to this as well. And that
Yeah.
matters. It's because no team's exactly the same, but they're pretty close in their arc right now, both franchises, about what they are and where they want to go. And they're good pieces that make them good teams that want to be great right now, still have ceiling to them with their young guys getting better and older and stronger. And the fact that it's, we can drive to Montreal in less than 2 hours, right? Like it's the closest rival. And the fact that, and I'm curious to see, because starting next year in the new CBA, right, we're only going to have 4 preseason games. You're not going to have as many preseason games in general, and veterans don't have to. I think they only have to play 2. I believe I have to look it up again. But usually, in my opinion, you would see the Sens and Habs kind of play too often in the preseason, because what happened in Quebec City, it's some nice physicality in the preseason, but when you step back from it, I think both teams are thinking, boy, I just hope somebody doesn't get hurt here in a preseason game when it doesn't matter as much that way. But, that's going back to the lineup decision for tonight. Curtis McDermott was acquired the next day. And Steve Stale said, I've been working on that, and I'll believe him that, because you don't pull the trigger just like, oh, we got to get a guy. I'm sure he was trying to improve, because Zach McEwen, big guy, skates pretty well. He's a really good player in the AHL, actually, good goal scorer. He's one of those kind of tweener guys that way.
Right.
He's not naturally mean. He's not the guy. He's not a great fighter. He's just big. Right. And so they said, well, are we going to have this kind of player on our team or not? If you're going to make the decision, all right, let's go get a guy that really is that guy. And so they took on one more year, because he's on contract for next season at 1.1, and McEwen was up this year. Okay. So that's how they did it. Made that move. So again, CL said it wasn't a direct reaction, but it pushed it over the top. I'm sure it did. I'm sure if he was thinking about it, it's like, I guess we're doing this, and bring him in. So I'm not surprised. Yeah,
I think it sealed it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised he's playing tonight, and he played in the last game. And I think another part, it's interesting that Florian Xhekaj is now with the team, because some of the bad blood from that Quebec City preseason game was, I know, Cousins with the slash on Demidov. Habs didn't like that. Struble fought Cousins, and Cousins accepted the fight.
Cousins, right? Yeah.
And Cousins accepted the fight in the regular season. He says, "Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm a veteran. I know how this kind of stuff works," and he did. I wonder if Florian Xhekaj accepts a McDermott fight tonight, because I know the Sens are not happy that the AHL penalty minutes leader from the season before grabbed their 19-year-old first-round pick defenseman and ragdolled him in Quebec City, and I know that didn't sit well with the Ottawa Senators and Travis Green. So I think if McDermott plays tonight, my opinion, I think that's part of it. And I went and looked up, and talking to people that have played for Travis Green and his style. If you recall, Grant, there was a game when he took over for Lindy Ruff late couple of seasons ago, spring of 2024 in New Jersey. So Green's an assistant. A week after that, Rempe was running around. He'd been suspended. He threw a hit on Siegenthaler, and McDermott had challenged him to a fight, and he wouldn't fight him. They play again at Madison Square Garden a couple weeks later. Green starts McDermott in the lineup, and then Laviolette responds with Rempe and everybody else that can fight on the Rangers, and it was a line brawl. And Laviolette screaming at Green, and Green's post game, and I listened to it again this morning, was, I don't know what Peter's so mad about. He says, if what should have happened last game happened, then what tonight wouldn't have had to happen. And anyways, the old school. And I know this is dinosaur talk for a lot of people, but I defer to the players and the coaches in the league. This kind of stuff still matters. So
no,
if you think that this is still just a gentleman's sport, this isn't Wimbledon. This stuff goes on at the highest levels in hockey, especially in the NHL. So if McDermott plays tonight, I think that's part of it.
Florian Jacki was a rookie last year in the AHL. Yes, he was the penalty minute leader, but he fought 4 times. So, there's a little context there. He's not that old. Yeah, and it's not like Yakimchuk's 5'9" or something, right?
But he's not a fighter. He was drafted in the top 10 of the first round to be a skilled guy. But when he gets grabbed like that, I know. Yeah.
Jacki's not a goon per se, right? He scored 25 goals and had 4 fights last year in the AHL. So, a little bit of context there, but I can understand. Okay, they're upset that he grabbed them, but it was in response to, why did Cousins slash Demidov there, right? Like that was pretty cheap too.
The Cousins slash came after that. Actually, it was after that incident, and I think that's why Cousins went too far with that. He responded. He says, "Well, you're going after our highly, you're going after our highly."
So that doesn't even it up. That doesn't even it up. Then they still gotta go after Jacki.
That's just that's my feeling on it.
No, you're probably right.
I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it. I'm just saying that this is how hockey works sometimes.
Yeah, no.
Like if you're wondering, it's like, why would you play McDermott tonight? And okay, well, how's it? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, they've got Arbor in the lineup and Florian did this, and it's just okay. So, and again, if McDermott doesn't play tonight, then what are you doing here? Like, why? This is the kind of game why you made the trade for, right? Whether if you agree with it or not, if Ottawa doesn't play him tonight, it's like, then why did you make the deal, right?
Oh yeah, they're going to dress him every game against Montreal, I think, and Arbor's probably in every game against Ottawa too, right? Even though he's kind of, sixth, seventh guy right now. I don't know. I hope Jacki doesn't. I hope Florian doesn't fight McDermott because I don't think that would end very well for him, to be honest with you. McDermott's pretty tough. And Florian, he's willing to fight. I mean, he dropped the gloves with Nick Delorier in the preseason, so he will.
Oh, he's a gamer. Oh, he's an absolute gamer for sure. He is. Yeah.
But
you know what? But all this talk, this just still might be nothing burger stuff, right?
Yeah.
They played already once in the regular season in that overtime loss for Ottawa when Newhook scored off the Batherson giveaway at 3-on-3. That was the same night. I think a lot of us would have been 2 screening it that night. That was Game 7 of the World Series. I was, at least. I was. And nothing really happened in that game. There wasn't anything too over the top. So maybe this is going to be nothing tonight as well.
But Florian Jacki wasn't in the lineup.
He wasn't in the lineup, and that's the only reason. Because I'm thinking, why are there other reasons why McDermott might play? And I thought, oh yeah, I remember that now, and I know that they didn't like that.
No, it's a good connection.
Yeah, we'll see.
And also, I think they got McDermott in part too, also, like which lends more credibility to them maybe talking before that, because there were other teams in the Eastern Conference and in the Atlantic that had got tough guys, I believe, and just before that, like it seemed like teams were loading up. And then this happens, and it must have been like, okay, we got to get McDermott now.
Tampa claimed Curtis Douglas off of waivers from Utah. Mason Gertson had made the Sabres. The Habs have Jacki. Delorier's in Philadelphia. Rempe's in with the Rangers. You start to look at a lot of the Eastern teams. It's like McDermott was with the Devils, and then he goes to Ottawa. So this isn't like the way it used to be in the NHL, where almost every team had that guy just sitting on their 4th line. But, this makes a tiny bit of a comeback. Well, there's a reason why Lucic was on a PTO and was seeing if he could make the Blues as well out west. So, that element still remains in hockey.
Mm-hmm. Well,
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Liam doesn't mind.
No, Liam doesn't mind at all.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, I've taken enough of your time there, Steve. I really appreciate you coming on,
No
and
problem at all.
should be a dandy game, and we'll see if we can't get you here for before or after the next Sens Habs.
Oh,
The rivalry's back, baby.
Yeah, these are always fun games. Hey, it's a long 82 game season. You and I love hockey, and we'll always have something to talk about. But these games like this come along. It's nice to have a little more juice to a game. So that'll be
Oh,
fun tonight.
absolutely. Okay. Thanks a whole pile there, Steve.
All right.
Have a good day.
Take care.
Okay, bye. Steve Lloyd, folks. Great guy. Lloydie and I go back, like you say, it was called the Team 1200 back in the day. It wasn't even TSN 1200, but he's been with them. He's been with them for quite a while. And Lloyd's, as you can see there, that was just a natural. I'm going to have him on as much as possible. That was great. Thanks to Steve for showing up. But anyways, I don't know. Kapanen's gentleness. Okay, Michael. You're really not watching Oliver Kapanen, are you? Did you see the scrum he got into the last 2 games? He's not gentle, and he goes to the front of the net more than Slav lately. I'm curious, long-term Demidov or Seneca, who will be better? I don't care. We always got to compare 2 guys. I had them 2 and 3 in the rankings, and they're 2 and 3 among rookies. So if Seneca ends up being better, good for them. They picked him higher, so as I said the other day, if Demidov had been picked higher than Seneca, then it would matter, But Seneca was picked higher than Demidov, so if he ends up being better, he was picked higher. Huge Kapanen fan. I can't wait to see him grow on this team. Imagine him in 3 years. He continues to get better and more comfortable. Yeah, that's for sure. Kapanen is a great third line. Yeah. Okay, that was what. How long have you been live? 61 years. Yeah, he is similar to Lundell. Notice that the only two guys on that list with more than a half a point regular penalty killers as rookie centers. Where are they from? They're both from Finland, eh? Yeah. I see him as a more offensive Jake Evans. Better skater, bigger. Not really. I don't. Way better shooter. And he's 22 years old, as is pointed out here by Sheldon. He's still getting better. Having Cap makes me feel more comfortable to move Beck in a trade. Oh, absolutely. Beck, I think, for sure. Sheldon, it's very frustrating. Yeah, so I got to get a little frustrated about it. The people still don't see how good Cap is, and he'll only get better. But that's okay, too. Like, it'll just be a pleasant surprise for all these people. But no matter how many times you point it out to him, tell him, look, I scouted this guy 100 games in the past, and, trust me, he's really good. They still, I don't know. They heard comments from another media guy and think, oh, well, that guy can't be wrong. Edgley, I like this lineup. I just wish Blay was in for Galley or Texier. Yeah. I wish actually Anderson, or sorry, Davidson. Davidson wasn't sent back down, was he? I'd like him in for Texier. I haven't been impressed with Texier yet. Do I think Blay clears waivers? I don't know. I'm not sure about what he has to clear waivers when he's on his way back up. Is that how it works? Yeah. Well, nobody claimed him, right? When Toronto put him on waivers. So why would somebody claim him now. 3 days later. Right? I'm okay with giving him an honest look before replacing him. Well, how many games did Davidson get? Yeah, I'm not saying replace him permanently. I'm just saying this game. Give Davidson. I don't like a 22-year-old sitting in the stands for a week and a half. Texier can sit in the stands. He's not the young prospect. We already know what we got with Texier. Either send Davidson back or play him. So that's why I want Davidson. That's why I want Davidson in the lineup tonight, and not Texier. Well, one of the reasons also because he's freaking way grittier than Texier, and Ottawa's a gritty team. That's my opinion, but like I'm not saying replace him permanently. I just don't like to see Davidson sitting in the stands when he's a young player. I don't like young players. Like I didn't like Struble sitting in the stands and like Davidson sitting in the stands. That's why you pick up Texiers and Velenos ultimately to be your 13th, 14th forwards. I don't think they picked up Texier to, that they really think when they're healthy that Texier is going to be in the lineup. He's just insurance, extra body until they get healthy, I think. Not a trick question. What would you say are the skills that Kapanen have that make him or will make him better than Evans? Oh, I just mentioned all of them. All of those things, yeah. He's bigger, better shot, better skater, certainly at the same age. Grittier in general than Evans because he's bigger body, right? You'll see as time goes along here, Kapanen will show more and more physicality. He's pretty tough, but I also think in general he's just all around better player, better vision, better passer to everything. He just looked better than Evans at everything, a little bit anyway. I'm really getting sick of Veleno. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Veleno's been fine the last couple of weeks. I think he's been competing and not hurting the team. I haven't minded Veleno at all the last 2 weeks. I think he's I think he's been fine, and he also plays center. Right now, they need that. Who's playing fourth line center if Veleno's out? Davidson hasn't played center since he was a pro. Texier hasn't played center for 3 years, so they don't have any choice. But I don't think he's been hurting them the last while he's competing. Edgley, give us your predictions here. Apparently, Doc started skating. Hey, hallelujah. He can replace Texier on a 1 foot, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, we'll give Texier more time. I know I'm being a little impatient there. Yeah, that's good. Well, I mean, fracture in your foot, right? It's 4 to 6 weeks. What's it been, 3 already? So he probably, we'll see him sometime in December, I hope. That would be nice because they need him. They need him back in there. Who has, anyone else have predictions here? Montreal, 4-2 Montreal tonight, I'm predicting. Yeah, well, we'll see. Both teams bouncing back. And Sheldon, that was these two responding in, there's Pierre, in kind to, what Steve was saying. And I think there's some substance to that, some merit. Like maybe you see McDermott go after Florian. I hope not, because McDermott's a really, really strong. He's a good fighter. He really is. And Florian is willing, but just not in his class, I don't think. But hopefully he can hang on and not get too hurt in a scrap with McDermott if that's what ends up happening. I could see Arbor fighting McDermott tonight, protecting his little bro. Well, not little, but young bro. McDermott is Seabass. Yeah. Hey, XPWR Soldier. That's a new name. Thanks for weighing in. Seabass. For anyone that has not seen Dumb and Dumber, Cam Neely was Seabass. It's funny. I was at the NHL draft, and you know, in Dumb and Dumber, there's that scene where Jim Carrey goes to the washroom and he gets collared by Seabass. I was at the draft and I was just walking into the washroom, and just before I got in, who leaves the washroom? Cam Neely. Like, whoa. You know, I'm another 10 seconds and I'm screwed, right? I'm getting the Jim Carrey, and I just said Seabass as I walked past, you know, as he's exiting the bathroom. I don't know if he reacted, or he didn't say anything anyways, but we were passing each other as I was going into the washroom, and I just said Seabass. I had the nerve to say it anyway. It was because of that bathroom scene in Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, anyway, I found it coincidental and kind of amusing. Go Habs, go! Hey Patrick, go Habs, go Grant. Hey buddy. Montreal International Film Festival. Thoughts on Monty starting tonight? I'm worried. Well, I don't know. Last game, Monty was better than Dobish, so maybe he's getting his game back on track. Last year he had a slow start too, don't forget, right? And then he was really good the second half. I think he was top 3 in expected saves above expected last year. Top 3 in the entire league. So he's capable of being a good goalie. And that's why Marty's kind of, in the long run, I can see why he wants him to. He's been trying to get him going because you still don't know exactly what you got with Dobie, right? There's inconsistencies there. Right now, Dobie's not feeling it. And Monty last year, second half, may have been top 2 goalie other than Hellebuck. He was right there, top 3 in goals above it, saves above expected. So let's hope that Monty, as hard as I've been and critical of as I've been of him, I still want him to, they need him. They need him right now. They're not calling up goalie from the AHL. Not until, if it's a month from now and Monty's back to struggling again and he's as bad as he was the first month, then they'll have to do something. But right now, he had a really good last game, and you just hope that he can build on that his confidence is coming back. And if it is, he's a good goalie. He's a decent starter, and Montreal needs that decent starter right now. So here's hoping he's on his way back. Hey, Dave. Hey, thanks for weighing in. Grant, thanks for Patreon podcasts. They're very informative. Oh, good. I'm glad you like those, David. I put up a 56-minute one, by the way, a couple days ago, where I looked at Stamkos and O'Reilly. Now, if I'd have done that on YouTube, it would have been restricted. So I put it, I do put up some exclusive content for my Patreon members. So listen, if you had any thoughts of maybe supporting me by becoming a YouTube channel member, I will. I'll send you my email. I'll type it in right here now, and if you do decide that you wanted to become a member of this channel, I will gift you a free subscription. I'm in the Christmas holiday mood. Free subscription to my Patreon page, and you get all these exclusive videos. I'm going to be posting a ton of them in the new year as time goes along here. There's my email. Okay, Grant at HabsCast.ca. If you do, and if you're already a member and you don't have a subscription to the Patreon page, there's my email. Get in touch with me and ask if you can get a Patreon membership, and I'll send you. I'll gift you a subscription. Oh, Francois, $2. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate that. Every every contribution that I get, and they're constant from you, Francois. I really truly appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir. Edgley, I really like Davidson. He deserves another look for sure. Davidson brings energy, and he isn't afraid of anything. Guy's a gamer. Yeah. His last game was a little quiet, but hey, one quiet game. Texier's had 2 quiet games now, I think. He got that assist, but frig, anybody could have got that. I think, there was a guy open, and he didn't even actually get it to him. It bounced off the defenseman's skate and went to Evans. But anyway, I'm not sold on Texier as of yet. Davidson brings more grit, and I think against a team like Ottawa especially, that might be handy. I'd rather have Davidson in tonight than Texier. Doesn't mean I'm giving up on Texier. I just don't like Davidson sitting in the stands, and he's got some grit, and I don't see that with Texier either. And tonight's going to be a rugged game. The analyst X, last 10 meeting, it's been the over 8 times, so expecting lots of goals, especially the way Allmark and Montembeault have looked so far this season. That's a good point. Yeah, Allmark has been struggling, and so has Monty. For those that like to gamble, a little bit of gambling tip there from the analyst. Francois, Marty's quite humble, mentioned that he needs to find ways to play Demnov more, and that the loss against Colorado was a big part because of his game plan. Too passive in the, oh, well, yeah, Marty's not too full of himself. You gotta be impressed with Marty during post games. We only have 38 apparently watching on YouTube. Guys, 438 are on X, 38 on YouTube. Hop on over and join us here in the live chat. Give us your thoughts. Tell me I'm crazy. I like that. Come on over. Exactly what I thought, Greg. Arber will go after Seabass and have his best fight of the year. The Jack Eyes freaking hate all Senators players, AHL and NHL. Yeah, that could be. Pierre, you don't have to agree with me all the time now, just but I appreciate it, buddy. Best thing to think about Monty is it can only get better. I don't think he will get worse. Yeah, I do believe Monty will put it together. I'm cheering for him. Yeah, I hear you. Hey, we're having a tuning war here. Sheldon, I will match Francois. Lol. Thank you, guys. Buy myself I can't afford a Starbucks coffee, but buy myself a Tim Hortons coffee with your Toonie donations, guys. Actually, I don't buy Tim Hortons either. You know what? That'll get me a friggin' 20-ounce mug. I mean, I'll have to pay the tip, but at Chuck's Roadhouse, just up the road, one opened up here in my neighborhood. $4 for for an 18-ounce draft. That's old-time prices. So you guys bought me. I'm going to go have a pint after this at Chuck's, and it'll be on you guys, on Francois and Sheldon. So thanks, guys. I do appreciate it. Have one pint and talk to my buddies down at the pub before the game. Sounds good, eh? Best thing to think about with Monty is it can only get better. Yep. Oh, that's a repeat. We really need Monty to be sure. Yep. Bit early for Fowler, though. I think he might be able to handle it personally. I agree. Edgley. Let's show the support to Grant. Subscribe and like the video. Hey, if you don't mind. Mind you, with only 35, up to 37. 37 watching on YouTube. I don't know why more people can't. It's not hard to click on the, just YouTube. Just put in HabsCast YouTube in your Google machine, and boom, comes right up. I know it's extra work, but I wish more people would show up on the live chat. Not that you guys aren't good. I just, the more the merrier, right? Texier's not an NHL player. Hugo will find help sooner rather than later. Just need the market to get going. Yeah. Well, Doc's coming, right? Oh yeah, Pierre, we agree most of the time. $2 doesn't go far. Yeah, but when there's two of yous, right? It's a beer. So thank you very much. Any opinion on the U.S. preliminary roster? Oh, I guess you might have missed the show the other night. I had it up and I talked about it. I'll see if I can find it here. There it is. Put it back up. As far as surprises go, I don't know who's missing that. Like, I don't have the list right in front of me of that guys that could have been asked. I mean, those are the, most of the names that you would expect, right? I like the fact that LJ Mooney got a. No, there's not a lot of surprises there for me. But again, I'm not, I don't have a list of guys that omissions necessarily in front of me. Typically, the Americans are pretty good at, Alex DeBrincat notwithstanding, they're pretty good at at inviting guys that deserve to be invited. Well, you can name a few but not as much. And mind you, they're not usually quite as deep as Canada, so there's always guys missing, it seems like, on Canada's roster, but most of the usual suspects are there, like Connolly, Yzerman, Higgins, Horkoff, Riker Lee, all high picks, Cole McKinney, Max Plant, Stiga, Lansagi, Zemer, all pretty high picks and pretty highly regarded. Brustowicz, Fiddler, Emery, Hensler, Hudson, all high picks. Chase Reed will be a high pick. So, most of the guys that you would expect to be named are on there. So, if you have a name or two that you think might have been omission, again, I'm not, I haven't poured over it, and I mean, I don't really care. I hope they have a couple of omissions. It's the Canadian squad that, that I'm really concerned about, and who gets asked and who didn't. Like Seneca not being on the team last year was a farce, and I think he's proving that this year with being one of the top rookies in the NHL. You tell me that in a year's time, a guy went from not being good enough for Canada's roster to being, in the Calder race. Like, give me a break. Pierre, would you agree that my take about trading Hage right now being a hard no. No, I wouldn't. That's still the guy that I think ultimately, if I prefer Zurofsky to Hage, and I don't think they need 4 top 2 centers. You know, I think Kapanen, Zurofsky, and Suzuki can be the 3 centers in the future. And I also think Hage is playing on the wing, like he's not taking faceoffs, so there's no guarantee. And there's lots of guys on the wings. I still don't know that Hage is going to have a top 6 spot. So wouldn't be a hard no at all for me. If the right guy comes along, like if miracle of miracle happens and Islanders fall out of the playoffs, or Pittsburgh falls out and Sidney Crosby is on the market, I would trade Michael Hage, and it'd be a hard no not to get Sid. So no, I don't agree. There, we're back to not agreeing on something. Thanks for the question, Pierre. What are your thoughts on Iginla? Does he show any signs of similarities to his father? I find it cool seeing guys with big last names come in the league. Well, he's got some similarities in that he's a goal scorer. He competes. He's not as big as his dad, not as tough as his dad, not as good as his dad, but he's a pretty good. Yeah, he's a pretty good player. Watched the Pittsburgh Philly game yesterday. Crosby's going to finish this year with Pittsburgh. The Penguins looked really good. Yeah, I watched Pierre. I watched Hage's games on the weekend, and he didn't take any faceoffs. That's a concern. If you're not taking faceoffs, he kind of, and as I said in my video that I did on the weekend, he's playing center sort of, but I mean Hughes does too. They kind of go back and forth, right? Depending on where they are, depending on the situation. But he's a 45% face-off guy or less in college, and he's not taking any face-offs this year. That's kind of important if you're going to play center in the NHL. And it's still the big question mark is, will he be a center in the NHL? Right now, Zurofsky for me is jumped ahead of him in the pecking order, and certainly Kapanen is, because he's proving it right now. He's playing against other teams. Shut down Eichel the other night, and good on faceoffs too, killing penalties, all that stuff. So, yeah, Hage plays. It's a concern that he's not taking faceoffs in college. If he's not taking faceoffs in college, certainly won't be taking them in the NHL anytime soon. It bothers me that he's not getting that practice. So it makes him one step away for me from being a center in the NHL. But we'll see. I haven't minded his defensive play this year. He's playing better defensively, and so never say never. But right now, he's 4th for me on Montreal's depth chart at center, and not ideally going to be a 4th line center either. That would be Papanicus for me down the road. So he's looking more likely, if he wants to be top 6, it'll have to be on the wing. And there's Caulfield, Slafkovsky, Demidov. You start. He might be a 3rd line winger on the Canadians in the future. Is that a tradable asset? I think so. I think, and it's no slight on him. It's good. It's a good situation to be in. The Canadians have depth. They have quality prospects. So that's why I think he's expendable if the right piece comes along that can help them win now. But I'm not in any rush to I wouldn't trade Hage for a rental, just a rental per se, you know. And you hang on to him unless the right deal comes along, for sure. For sure. Hage future with the Habs would be on the wing most likely anyways. Yeah. And that's right. He's also a right-handed, you know, he also shoots right, so heck, Hage, Beck, Engstrom, first round picks. I'd love Crosby even if it wasn't this year. Yeah. That's a nice package, eh? It takes something like that probably to get Crosby, but you know what? We're talking a generational player. And if one ever comes along to get, you go for it. They can live without, you know, I know there'll be people that flip out or whatever, but they can, especially if you got Crosby, you can live without those players for sure. The Canadiens are in that position right now that they can do something like that. Johnny Golden, hey Grant, could Pickford play in the AHL next season? How do you feel about him? Yeah. Good player. I like Pickford quite a bit. I think he has a potential to be it helps that he's on the right side too, because there will be a need down the road for another right defenseman. I think he has NHL potential with the Habs. Right now, he's fourth on the right side on the depth chart for me. I think if you don't call Hudson a right defenseman, but look, I've got $4. $4 in my pocket. I'm gonna go have myself a pint down at the local pub before the game. So we've been at it almost 76 minutes. That's long enough. Join me after the game. We'll do a post-game show, okay? And we'll get into this a little more. But thanks for showing up again. Thanks to Steve Lloyd. Hey, he's been 20 years. He's been doing you know, and it shows. He's pretty smooth on radio, but also good on podcasts, obviously, and we'll have him on again for sure. Pens are going to be in the playoff race till the end. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. You're probably right, Sheldon, unfortunately. Okay, Johnny. Appreciate that. Edgley, thanks for all the hard work. Go Habs, go. Yep. All right, Sheldon. See you tonight. Just me and you, buddy. Sounds like. Oh, no. I'm sure it'll be a good crowd out tonight, especially if the Habs win. It's funny how that works, eh? Okay, everyone. Thanks as always for tuning in. Go Habs, go. See you tonight. Bye for now.